Hello, Static here. Guild leader of Revenge, former dominating force of the Agathon server in Drakensang Online. Uh, we're here to discuss the reasons why I rarely ever played Drakensang Online anymore. Quite frankly, I quit. First off, these are not just the reasons based off of my experiences, but they're the reasons based off of many of the former members and officers of Revenge. So it's not just my opinion, it's the opinion of many that ultimately led to the end of Revenge as a whole. So I'd like to touch on a few points as to why we quit the game. And I mean, we invested a lot of time and, let's be honest, a lot of money into this game, and we still ended up all leaving. Now, why is that? I think a lot of us know why, but we're going to touch on some of these points. Let's make a top 5 reasons to quit Drakensang Online. And number 5 for me was, and not just for me, as I said, for many of the members of Revenge, the limited content. We were just waiting for the next big thing that just never came. And that's a real problem when you're trying to keep people around. So you run out of the PvE content of what to do, and what is there left to do? Well, you can PvP, but we'll talk about that later on the list. A big problem for some of us was the fact that Drakensang Online changed hands. It went to an Asian market, and that's fine, except for the fact that we weren't getting anything that we were asking for anymore. So, we would be asking for certain things, and then they'd say, well, we're working on it. And then all of a sudden we would get wings as mounts. And we'd say, wait, we never asked for that. And they say, oh, yeah, well, the Asian market asked for it. So here you go, wings. It's like, well, yeah, but we didn't want that. What about those things that we were asking for? We never got those things. From what I can tell, we still haven't gotten a lot of the things that all of us wanted to see happen. So it was just frustrating to see this game go downhill in the fact that we were just getting hand-me-downs from other people's, from their wish lists, and we weren't being heard as a community, which is unfortunate. So number 4, no gear to improve. Most of us in Revenge were fully geared. There was nothing else for us to farm. We had the best of the best gear. Yeah, I mean, even me personally, I didn't have the biggest gems, so you could always get better with gems. But at that point, you're just investing thousands of dollars into a dying game. I mean, I already regret putting the amount of money and time that I put into this game. So, yes, you can get better by investing, but it's just not worth it in my opinion. But the biggest thing is, there just wasn't anything else for us to farm for. We all had the gear. We had our end game gear. We were done. So, what do you do after that, Now, I understand there's a new crafting system where you can, Crafting 2.0 came out since then, but it was just too little, too late for us. It wasn't worth us sticking around, trying to craft new gear. We were already as good as we were going to get. We already were pretty much unbeatable in PvP. I mean, with the exception of, there's some guilds out there that would give us a run for the money, and it was good fun. But we just had nothing else to look forward to as far as our gear. And that's kind of when a game dies for most players. Number 3, a small American market. Now, anybody who speaks English and plays Drakensang Online, especially on the Agathon server, there's not very many English speakers in the community. Which is why Revenge was created in the first place. It was because it wasn't to make a pay-to-win guild or anything like that. It had nothing to do with it. It had everything to do with the fact that a lot of my friends, we were just strewn about throughout these other guilds, and we needed a place to come together, a central place where all of my friends could come together. And that's how Revenge started. I wasn't going out of my way to create a power group. It was nothing like that. It was just a place for all of the English speakers to come together. Now that Revenge is gone, I don't know what the community is like for everyone who only speaks English. It's got to be tough out there. That's all I know. I mean, now, there's nothing wrong with having a diverse group of people on one server. That's fine. I know the Spanish-speaking community is robust on Agathon, and that's got to be great for all of you guys. I mean, but it's really difficult to have a fulfilling game experience when most of the people you meet, you can't even have a conversation with. That's difficult, and it's really going to be another factor as to why you're ultimately not going to play that game any longer. All right, let's go to number 2. It's a big one, and everybody knows it. Pay to win. I paid, and I won, and I don't feel good about it. I mean, it was fun. Yeah, it's always fun to crush people. Don't get me wrong. But when you step back and walk away from the game, you see how much you invested, the time and money, and such a waste. It's a game that is really less skill-based and more wallet-based. It's all about how much money you put in, and it really does affect it. Yes, you can grind the best gear, and you can get pretty good without paying. I mean, you can do that. But you're still never going to get on that next level unless you go out and buy the gems, and we all know that. So that's just another reason that I didn't want to invest anymore. I was tired of paying for a game that really wasn't giving me much joy anymore. And the number one reason why I left, or number one reason why I wasn't having fun anymore and why other members of Revenge just were not having a good time anymore, no PvP matches. This is no secret. If your win-loss ratio is too high, which many of us was and still is for some of the members that didn't quit, you cannot get matches. You can get a rare match if you solo queue, but if you're going to try and play with your friends, which is the reason we all played this game, you're not going to get matches. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone. Obviously, there were a lot of Revenge members that could get matches on a consistent basis, no problem. And if you look at the leaderboards, those guys that are in the top 10 or even just the top 100 in general on whichever battle you choose, those guys get matches consistently. They never have to wait for matches, and it just makes no sense to me because I could queue for a 5 vs 5, even solo, and I literally could be queued for 15, 16 hours and never get a match. Now, this was brought up in the forums, and I had support look at my shit, and well, it never got fixed. They would attempt and say, try it now, you should be good to go. No, it never got fixed. Even now, I go to register for a battle, I still can't get battles. After almost a year of being out of the fighting, I still, to this day, can't get battles. That is the number one reason. Because when you run out of things to do, you run out of content, you run out of gear to grind, you're almost done paying to win, you have close to the biggest gems you can get. The only thing that's left is PvP, and if you can't PvP, what are you doing? You're just wasting time. I used to just log on and just sit there. There was nothing for me to do. I would talk with my friends and just go around and grind mindlessly, but I didn't need any of the gear. I didn't need anything. All I needed was to be able to get PvP matches, and I couldn't do that. So there's no reason for me to stick around in a game that just isn't listening to what I want. They're not going to help me with my problems where I can't get battles. I had enough. I walked away, and a lot of the Revenge members went with me. So the question is, what am I doing now? Well, let's talk about what a lot of the Revenge members are doing. We broke off into some different games. We keep in contact, and that's great. But a lot of us are just playing different games right now. What am I personally doing? I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online. It's a much, much, much better game. Just visually, the content is very, very large. You get a lot of content for the money. When it first came out, it was pay to play, and it's not anymore. So that's nice. It's just pay one fee, and everything is unlocked. They do have DLC content, but you don't have to pay for that content if you don't want. One of the big draws for me is it's not pay to win. You cannot get ahead by paying money in this game whatsoever. The only thing you can buy is just costumes and things that don't really affect the gameplay. So that's a big one for me. Coming from Draken saying I wanted an experience that was more skill based, and this is it. So it's a lot better game. They listen to the community a lot better now. It's an American based game to where, like, when you talk on the forums, you're actually heard, and they've been doing a lot better job of getting back with us and implementing things that the community actually wants to see. So it's a great game. It has potential to develop into one of the best MMORPGs ever made, in my opinion. So that's why I'm there, and I've been having a blast doing it. So I've been starting to stream ESO. I'll put a link down in the description below where you can check out the stream and come and see what you think about Elder Scrolls Online. Come and say hi to me. If I haven't seen you in a while, I'd love to hear from you. So I appreciate everybody checking out the video. Appreciate you listening to me vent a bit about it. And yeah, that's why I quit Draken Saying Online. Hope to see you soon. See ya.